Good morning. I'm Malcolm Nance, and welcome to Black Man Spy, U.S. Iran Warcast Day 104. By our count on the number of podcasts we've done, it's probably day 102 in the actual combat count, but who's counting? Because this war is ready to reset at any given time. I'm
Yeah.
Malcolm Nance. I'm your host, joining you from my secret lair in the Canadian Laurentian Mountains, of which I hope to be back in New York in my home anytime now. Joining us, Jacob Karsbo is not here today, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire. He is going to be late because Denmark's a really small country and it's got very few, real experts. And Jacob is a real expert, so his TV channel 2 is coming to his house and interviewing him. And so he just doesn't have, he he has to inconvenience himself all the time in order to get the answers out there. He's very popular. You're right, Sidney. He's very popular. But I do have with me the next most popular guy, Wajeeh, the gay lion, who is our Saudi Arabia Gulf states expert. He's born in Saudi Arabia, now lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Where did I hear you say whiskey sour is your favorite drink?
No, old
Oh,
fashioned.
okay. All right. Old fashioned. Oh, Jesus. You are a conservative guy. So when I hear of people who drink an old fashioned, my first thought is this guy should be wearing a fedora.
I,
So
I
please don't
did
buy it.
have a collection of fedoras.
You
I did. I did. I
The
did.
more we learn about you, I'm going to talk to you after the show. I need some fedora advice. So I actually have one. I have the funny thing about it is, and I'm going to give people a chance to spool up. Wow, I know we were 1 minute late, but we have generally banter until 1,000 people come on. Um, but I actually have two hats that look good on me. And there's this thing, right? Hats with certain men, you just cannot wear certain hats. And if it's not a baseball cap or a helmet, right? I don't look great in hats. Or well, fezzes, everybody looks good in a fez, right? Especially Doctor Who, right? The Matt Smith Doctor who gets his fez destroyed by Dr. Riversong, right? So, for those of you who don't know it, I'm an insane Doctor Who fan from way back in the 70s, all right? So, that being said, the only hat that ever looked good on me was a fedora style cap that I got at the San Diego Zoo that was an Indiana Jones fedora, but it was made for San Diego's Wild Animal Park only. And I was in there, you know how you buy stuff at the gift shop, and you're like, this looks like hell, right? I put that thing on, I was like, holy cow, this is the only hat I ever looked good in. Then when I lived in Australia, I found a hat that was almost identical, right? And it was one of the bush
Hunting
hats.
gambler's hat, right?
Yeah. And it was a
It
bush, it
comes
was
like
a
this,
bush.
and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has like a
It's got
wing.
a lowered front and it's got like the wings on the side. And
Yeah.
the name of the company escapes me, but um it was almost identical to the Indiana Jones hat, only it had opening around the side. No, that was the one from South Africa. So anyway, it was a fedora style cap. Loved it, bought it. So I have two, right? Indiana Jones and this one. Then I go to Cape Town. Go to give a speech on aviation security in Cape Town. And in Cape Town, they have the exact same Australian style bush hat, only they have like kudu skin, or they have actual zebra on, on the top with an open top brim. And of course, it has the same cut, flaps down on the front, comes up on the side. That's it. And I thought, man, that's it. Only bush hats look good on me. Then
Like,
2 years ago, I go to Paris for the Olympics. And I'm in Paris and I go to the boutique shop. I talked about this before. I go to Carousel de Louvre every time I go to Paris. That's this mall that's under the Louvre Museum. And I go to a Japanese shop there that sells fountain pens. They sell fountain pens from all over the world. And next to that was the official Olympic shop. I go in there. There is a white brimmed fedora with the Olympic band on it, and I'm like, oh, that's going to look horrible on me. I put that thing on me. Magic, man. It was like what is it? The sorting hat from from Harry Potter. I put that hat on. That hat talked to me. I looked in the mirror. That hat was like, bro, you look good. And I was like, I look good. So I jumped back through the whatever 150 euros or whatever it was at. It was a white hat. And what it was, it looks like it's those hats that like the line judges in cricket or, wear where they have a button down yacht club suit, right? So I wore this thing to the Ritz because I go to the Ritz on Bastille Day. And and it was just amazing. I mean, all day I was like, that's it. 4 hats in 64 years that weren't military associated. Okay, well, that's enough banter. We got our thing. Do you got your coffee mug? What are you rocking? Your round one? I
Yes,
see. It's
my regular
Wallace and
color.
Gromit again today because I had so much crazy shit was going on. I needed the comfort of Gromit
Oh,
in today's activities.
you want to hear an interesting fact?
Yeah, hit me.
Guess how many times our great supreme leader, His Excellency and Amazing Majesty Donald Trump, have said that we have come close to a peace deal,
2 to
imminent
3
peace
days.
deal.
2 to 3 days.
No,
Uh,
how many times he said that?
20.
37 times.
Oh, Allah. I'm writing that shit down. 37 times. This man's a pathological liar. He just it's a tick. It's a tick. This guy could never play poker. He'd lose in the first hand everything that he's owned. He'd put like his entire house and kids up for mortgage. And he would sit there and he goes, "You'll never beat me. I'm the greatest poker player in the world. You can't beat this hand." He'd look down at the hand and he'd go, "You'll never beat me." And it was like, all in, boom, beat him in the first hand, right? Holy cow, 37 times. It's it's
You
it's
can't make
almost
this
like he's
up.
making it's almost like he's making it up as he goes along.
Oh,
That
yeah.
being said, can we take a quick look at oil, Waja? Because I'm going to talk oil today, and
Yes,
it
sir.
will be very interesting. Today is Tuesday, right? As you know, for
That
those
is
of you
true.
who are Black Man Spy followers, we have no earthly idea what day of the week it is. Look at this. WTI down to $88.93, took a $2.30 drop after Trump was saying out loud that there's a peace plan. Wow, this stuff. It's a roller coaster. Brent North Sea crude 92.38 down to $1.88 and Murban down to 89.50. I remember when Murban was at 120 almost consistently. Pay no attention to those numbers, people, because we are finding out when that oil hits a barrel and is actually transferred to a ship, it goes up for auction at the physical oil price, which is between $150 and $175 a barrel. That's what it's really trading at. You are looking at the futures price. All right, thank you, Waja. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that after significant activities. So today's theme is very simple. Who's calling the shots? Is it Donald Trump? Is it Benjamin Netanyahu? Or is it Iran? Or is there another party out there that we have to consider? Well, before we can consider anything, the most significant activity of the day is the fact that a U.S. Army AH-64 Apache helicopter went down in the Strait of Hormuz last night. The crew obviously had time to prepare for water ditching. It is very dangerous when a helicopter has a water landing. That's because when the rotors, even if it's an Apache, if it's damaged and you're settling down lightly, 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 and you can actually hold that helicopter in a slight hover so that your gunner can open up the window and bail out and swim away from the boat, that's hard because the pilot has a great chance of being killed in that ditching. Another thing is that when you ditch, let me show you an Apache. When you ditch, those rotor blades hit the water. Here's a photo of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. The rotors are what give you lift, and when they flip and hit the water, they are violent. They break up, they fly everywhere. And the usual activity is that the helicopter will then flip over onto its top, and that's when the crew breaks the windows and makes an egress from the helicopter as it sinks, right? It's very dangerous, but that's just the way it is. Question is, according to the Central Command report, it went down in the Strait of Hormuz. They did not say how or why. It is said that the U.S. Navy dispatched a drone boat that was probably out there doing mine sweeping. We have a series of drones. We talked about that early on in the war, and that it identified the location of the two aircrew, which means that the aircrew were in the water, their Mae West vests were inflated, their infrared strobes were going off, and that these boats have thermal optic cameras on them and saw them when the helicopter went down, went to the ditch site. And we don't know if they were recovered by hanging onto that boat or if another helicopter came. The U.S. Army helicopters have been operating out of two bases in the United Arab Emirates, Minad to the northeast of Dubai, and then Swihan, which is to the northeast of Abu Dhabi. I believe it's part of the Sheikh Zayed military city. So we've seen satellite imagery of those aircraft at that base. I think I got a couple of photographs of those drones operating, or not drones, the helicopters operating from the United Arab Emirates. Here you go. No. Yes. This is Abu Dhabi Airport, Suhan. You can't see it very well. It's hard to see even with the best picture. But satellite imagery shows a number of dark objects that are in a row that appear to be Apache helicopters. You recall 2 months ago when they started Project Freedom, Apache helicopters were dispatched to the United Arab Emirates, and they were patrolling the Strait of Hormuz in order to chase down those small boats. And by all accounts, they and U.S. Navy Seahawk helicopters have sunk 7 boats, I think 9 boats thus far in the entire war in the Strait of Hormuz in action. What does that tell you? Well, for a Navy that, or not a Navy, a regular naval force that has 33,000 of them, that ain't going to impact things very much. But the question is, did this helicopter suffer a malfunction or was it shot down? And that we haven't heard from. The way that Central Command is making it sound, they say it's subject to investigation. Well, if a Mayday call went out, we're going to hear about it. In combat operations like this, you generally do not put out a Mayday call until you are down and in the water, right? And then you expect mariners to get you. In a combat operational zone where it appears the Apaches have been flying all the way up in Iranian water and airspace up to Larak Island and Kishem Island. What I'll do is I will bring this up on Google Earth for you to see. Wajeeh, what do you think?
There's 90% chance Iran hit that plane, especially that they have the technology to do so, and that Hormuz Strait basically is looked at through a mountain of Iran, and that mountain has a lot of terrains, and it's really easy to hide a lot of people hiding anti-ship and anti-air missiles that could either loiter around or hit the target right away.
Let me tell you
And
something.
it,
Yeah.
go ahead.
An Apache is very hard to kill. because one, it has sensors and thermals and things like that, which will see you and kill you way before. I mean, this thing is designed to kill tanks at 20 miles, right? It can look out that far. So whatever happened to it was a surprise. If it was shot down, it was a surprise. Like they're going, near the port, going near Larak Island, and they turn around to start surveilling the coast, and then something just comes up from behind. A man-pad, a man-portable air defense missile can damage an Apache. Those big ones, like they shot the F-35 and the F-15 down, those big Chinese air surface-to-air missiles, that was not it. That helicopter would not have survived. There would not have been a crew to get out. So whatever it was small. It could have been small guns, AAA, anti-aircraft fire, and they just got what they say in the military jargon, the golden BB, right? The one bullet that goes through the one system
That's
that
what the
keeps your
Iraqi
aircraft up.
farmers did. That's what the Iraqi farmers did when the U.S. invaded in Iraq. It wasn't necessarily hibachi. We call it mushabah. What's the other one? Yeah, hibachi. Hibachi. Anytime you say hibachi in the Middle East, it's like you mentioned a nightmare,
Right.
because like we understand how dangerous this plane. I didn't know the 20-mile thing. But what I know is that many times, regular people with the rifles, if they are lucky and they could hit a crucial part of the aircraft, many times they have downed helicopters in Iraq.
Yeah. Well, this to show you that Apaches aren't, invincible. That's an Apache that was shot down in Iraq, So, well, wait a minute. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, these aircraft are aircraft. They aren't invincible. They won't get shot down in an instant. Here's another one. This is Afghanistan. Whoops, I don't know if you can see that very well. But as you see, when those rotors hit the ground, they will flip the aircraft because the rotors chop up and break it up, and that's it, right? This one's chock full of rockets and missiles. So yeah, Apaches aren't invincible. They can get shot down. This is a photograph. I'll show you this one of the engine after a surface-to-air missile. Whoop, hit it. I just had that image. But after a surface-to-air missile hits this thing, oh, I have no idea why it's not showing me the image. It doesn't like me. For some strange reason, it'll show it here. But the surface-to-air missile literally chews up. I don't know if you can see it very well. There you go. It just chews up the engine, just chews it up. But it still landed on the other engine, even with that damage. And that's quite possibly what happened here is that they got that helicopter, locked it in, managed to, either invert it and then do a wet escape and got out. We don't know that yet, but there is a whole history of U.S. helicopters being shot down. Don't forget, this is the same place that the what was it? The A-10 Warthog aircraft was shot down off of Kishem Island. So, Malcolm, why are you going so far into this? Because we are not invincible. A lot of people
Mhm.
seem to think that our forces cannot be beat. Yes, they can be beat. And you need to respect that, right? Oh, today is awful day for getting up imagery.
First, first of all, I am grateful and thankful that all of our soldiers have been claimed safe and have been recovered. This is something that I am very grateful for. And this Trump administration has gotten very lucky twice in this war. The reality of the matter is, as long as we are in this conflict, our boys and girls on the battlefield will be risking their lives over and over again because we are fighting an adversary. This is not a game. People lives are on the line. We have killed thousands of people inside Iran. They are trying to take revenge. Our boys and girls that have nothing to do with this conflict, that have not chosen to be there, are there fighting in the name of the United States, fighting in the name of freedom, fighting in the name of democracy. And the person that is sending them is betting on the poly markets, on whether, when, and where, and how we are going to make those invasions and hits. And the ones who are risking everything is not even in the White House.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Too busy out sleeping at a basketball game and putting the jinx on the New York Knicks. So, just, oh, as a matter of fact, that's funny because here's the video of Trump sleeping during the basketball game and putting the jinx on the New York Knicks. Look, people are cheering and he's not even waking up. I mean, they're going nuts. Oh, his eyes just open. Like, what? What? Did I miss something? Fuck it. And he goes back to sleep again. Okay, you're president of the United States, people. And just amazing, amazing what we are going through. So, in line with that, oil, by the way, Kuwait crude is finally making its way to Asia for the first time since this war has started. They are doing it by transshipping it and doing ship to ship transfers. As a matter of fact, there is a massive number of ship to ship transfers occurring off of Fujairah and other places. And what they're doing is they're filling up a tanker goes out into the middle of the ocean, meets another tanker that's coming from Asia to try to get the oil as close to Asia as possible. They stop in the middle of the ocean, they pump the oil from one ship to the next, and that first ship goes back to Fujairah to load up on more oil. So it's like a gas station coming out to you in the middle of the highway, right? So
So
a
much, much
lot of
more
ship trips.
dangerous and much, much more technical.
Yeah, definitely. And they're all many of them are occurring off of Fujairah. All right. Next. I talked this the other day. I'm going to stick to combat operations first. We talked about the U.S. Combined Air Operations Center in Udeid Air Base in Qatar. This has been U.S. Central Command Forward's headquarters forever. You can see it is a massive facility. Uh, this picture doesn't do it justice, where they run all air combat operations for 20 years since Iraq and Afghanistan, or after Afghanistan, have occurred out of this center. Well, we told you early in the war, it apparently got hit by two Shahed drones and knocked it out completely. Well, now we have some more imagery of the Kayak here with the holes in the ceiling. And as you see, it burned out the building. So, U.S. Central Command has no capacity to run an air operations center. In fact, they knew they were going to get hit pre-war, so they moved the entire air campaign to a base in South Carolina that has been put up for that exact same purpose. And this one took the hit. 20, there you go. 20 years of U.S. air dominance and a U.S. command center destroyed. This was destroyed in March, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. So that's what
Let me
happened to
explain to
us.
you guys. Let me explain to you guys a little bit more about Center Command. Center Command used to be in the United States, and then with Qatar, with an agreement, security agreement with Qatar, after Qatar has provided one fourth of its land as an Air Force base to the United States has decided to move Center Command that makes a lot of the decisions regarding air and fighting in the Middle East, because the Middle East is in the middle of the old world, which most of our conflict is at. It was the most important strategic point for us to be there. Now,
Mhm.
while we were there, we did not invest enough money in the infrastructure that's needed to make Center Command a very secure place, because we did not assume or did not calculate that war would happen and that we would get attacked in center command. So all we had is basic tanks, basic ACs, and you had a Baskin Robbins somewhere in there, and that's all you had. Literally, like you didn't have like there's not much there other than the technology that they use for the war and the intelligence agents and the soldiers and the collaboration between other military. That's all that's there. And you would think that you would want to put that in a bunker. You think you would want to put that in a reinforced structure so you could keep your assets safe, but that wasn't the case. And that's why we lost some of our most important planes and got had some of our most important planes got damaged because we put them in hangars that had nothing.
Jacob is here apparently. Let me bring him up. His interview's over. Well, you're right, but Central Command sat there and thought we can operate with impunity. We can all go to Baskin Robbins. We can have a grand old time. Hey, Jacob, good to see you.
Welcome,
Finished your
Jacob.
interview, did you?
I finished my interview on, the topic.
You know,
No,
I don't.
don't know the
Actually,
topic.
it was
Ukraine, Iran, what?
it was focused on how many times Donald Trump had said that a deal was right there, and that he could close it off immediately if he wanted, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 37 times?
37, yeah.
37, right? Trey 7. He gets 37 times.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here because we've just talked about the Kayak in Doha. We had more images of the Kayak being destroyed by Shahed drones, the Combined Air Operations Center. And then we talked about the Apache getting downed. We don't know whether it was shot down or what kind of down it was on. But we are moving on to the next most significant activity of the day, and that is U.S. That is Israel attacks on Lebanon. I brought up the big
before
board
that,
here.
I have a
showing.
question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
You were talking about Center Command. We talked about this for a little bit, but I think it's important to touch on it because it still hasn't passed the House and is still being under discussion. Section 224 that is intending to integrate the Israeli intelligence and military with the American military intelligence. How would that corrode the U.S. strategic decision making when it comes to
Well,
attacks if we did that?
quite a bit, but I think that that's a separate show, bro. I have been reading it. I've read the proposed legislation. I've seen the numerous discussions on it. We could be here for the next 2 hours talking about that. And I think we need to get a handle on that. Let me finish here with this thing with Lebanon, right? Tyre. And I know a lot of people are asking, by the way, for those of you who have been asking, the Substack chat comes up about an hour now before the show. So you can go there on day 104 and post your postings. I wanted to call it the Who Calls the Shots cast. But we pretty much know Iran's calling the shots now. So and we're going to talk about the clash between the United States and Israel in a moment. But this is significant. The Israelis have expanded their attacks in southern Lebanon. This is Lebanon going all the way up here from Beirut. Whoop, where's Beirut on the map? This map is, the TV projects a little lower. Here's Beirut to the Israeli border down here. This area right here is about 30 kilometers or about 20 miles going all the way up here. The Litani River is actually over here near Kiryat Shimona. This is Metula. Metula is near Nebatia. And you're going to hear a lot about that. Nebatia right here is a stronghold of Hezbollah, and the Israelis are attacking there. But most importantly, right here between Tyre, outside of Tyre, the Israeli army is on the move again and is carrying out attacks. The city of Tyre was ordered today with a complete evacuation order. Whoop, There's the anti-Hezbollah dog looking out for them. A complete evacuation order of the city of Tyre, include 220,000 civilians, right?
Yeah.
And they are already bombing all of the major districts of the city. They even told the Christian quarter, you must leave. Now, that's going to create an enormous amount of consternation because the Christians are the only ones who are supporting them, right? And the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army. I would take you in a close-up to Tyre. That ancient section of the city down near the port, all of that, there is fighting and bombing going on there. The Israelis are claiming they are not. We saw this image the other day. This is Mashuk. This is Al-Bus. And down here, over here is the old port. The Israelis have first declared an evacuation for these areas. Now it's all of it. Everyone out of Tyre. This is not good.
No.
Unfortunately, they have already started attacking in the middle of the old city. And don't believe me. Don't believe me. Believe your lying eyes. This is an Israeli bomb strike, as you can see, along the coastal front in the old city of Tyre. Yeah. This place is 5,000 years old.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the main city, the Litani River.
Right.
One of the oldest ports in the Middle East.
It is considered the single most oldest port in continuously operating port, supposedly in the world, that they can document. But you never know, right? China's got all sorts of stuff buried away. But that's what it looks like when you start dropping bombs into high-density apartment buildings. Does this look familiar? That, by the way, that's what Gaza used to look like.
Yeah.
Now it was leveled. So, Malcolm, who thinks that this is a good idea? Well, Defense Minister Israel Katz thinks this is a good idea.
Yes.
His comments today will continue, and they will smash Hezbollah. Yep. Interestingly enough, in the retaliation strikes against Iran's ballistic missile attack on Israel, who do you think in the United States government, other than Stephen Miller, because he's a mentally insane Nazi, was the principal advocate in Donald Trump's cabinet for Israel to go ahead and strike that? You know the answer, don't you, Wajeeh? Go ahead. You, Mr. Al-Lion. Who do you...
Marco Rubio.
I better see an apple on my desk tomorrow. So, who do you think? Who?
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio. So when did this, ever since this talk of J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio being pitted against each other, okay, Marco Rubio has jumped 5 feet into supporting whatever Israel wants to do. And Marco Rubio told Trump he supports Netanyahu blasting Iran and that we had to let them do it. Same thing with Hezbollah. Interesting how these two wimpy guys who were at one point realists are now just insane. I mean, why don't we just make Ben Gvir the national security advisor?
Yeah.
Probably get Ben more Gvir, rational, thoughtful.
Now you mentioned Ben Gvir. For him, just destroying Tyre is not enough.
Not enough.
He wants to He wants to move on and destroy the southern part of Beirut, the Dahia neighborhood, etc. And he said that yesterday, even. Just Aleppo, like the Russians did in Aleppo.
These two guys it's almost a race to see who wants to go to the International Criminal Court first. I can't even believe that I talk like this about these people, but they're proving it themselves. Israel Katz, he was the guy that says we are going to ethnically cleanse Gaza. He says, we're going to do it in the right way at the right time. And it's like, bro, you don't say this stuff out loud. They're like, oh, don't worry, no problem. It's like, yeah, there is such a thing as international warrants, but we have the United States. They feel that they have complete impunity for the United States.
Yeah.
And as they said, they can operate with or without the United States in Lebanon. Well, the question is, do they think that Iran was just playing games? We will have to see. But like I said, Rubio is backing Israel, not Trump, in this war. On the other hand,
Yeah.
J.D. Vance has deep thoughts. Let me play those for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And here you are. J.D. Vance says he's going the exact opposite from Rubio.
So how concerned are you about Israel spying on the United States and freelancing in Lebanon?
Well, look, I think obviously the Israelis and the Israelis and the United States, we have a lot of shared interests, but we also have some situations where our interests diverge. And I think where the president has been very clear here is that while Israel obviously has some objectives that it has, the United States' main objective that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. And we've actually, thanks to what's happened over the last few months, but really over the last year and a half, we've created the space necessary where the president believes, and I think that he's right, that we can get the long-term settlement to Iran's nuclear deal. Now, Israel may like that, they may not like that, but fundamentally, we think this is in the best interest of the United States of America. So we're going to keep on pursuing it because that's what the President of the United States was elected to do. That's what we have to do in order to properly serve the American people.
So we now have the battle of Israel can do no wrong, support them at all costs, which up to this point had been the Trump policy till last Thursday, right? Was it not? And now suddenly America first, which, if I'm not mistaken, was on baseball caps, is suddenly coming back. This is the actual where the split in the Republican Party is happening. Okay. J.D. Vance apparently is going with the Joe Kent. Israel led us around by a nose ring. We got to do whatever we got to do for America first. And Rubio is going with the old Trump policy of whatever Israel wants, we do. This is fascinating to me. Fascinating. Yeah. It occurred in less than 1 week. And it all happened with this Iran attack in Iran and Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob can hear you.
And if you're in Tehran, how does this all make you feel? It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. You see the two allies, Trump and Netanyahu, that attacked you 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and now they are fighting between themselves, and half of Trump's party wants to go one way, the other one the other way. So the Iranians will be sipping some extra sweet tea.
Third cup of tea, fourth cup of tea, big mugs,
Big mugs.
Big mugs over there. It's just like, what's the old saying? When your enemies are making mistakes, don't interrupt them. Right? That's with that Napoleon, right? So
when they're in a hole, let them dig.
Yeah, keep it digging. It's like, hey, you're right, and you're right too. Which brings us to the next most significant activity now that we've gone through oil. This shows a split between the two. And by the way, these guys are out there floating. MAGA people are out there floating a Vance Rubio ticket. Okay? And I can't even believe it. These are the two biggest hypocrites. One guy called Trump America's Hitler. The other guy was a hardcore foreign policy realist who supported Ukraine, hated Iran, was almost neutral on Israel to some respects. And now it's like, if Ben Gavir's job opens up, Marco Rubio's going to apply for it. And now I've got J.D. Vance is with the Groypers, right? Which is the right-wing neo-Nazi youth, incel youth. And Joe Kent in the Israel's leading us around, I'm America first thing. Wow. And the Iranians are like, Chief of Intelligence, what do you make of this? You go to boss, I don't know what to tell you. Morty, because just sit and watch, right? Sit
Bring
and
out
watch.
the best dates. Bring out the best dates.
Your best dates and fried bread. Bring us kebabs, because all we can do in this situation is have lunch.
Where others would eat popcorn.
What do they
would
say?
Kebabs
There's that saying, right? Smile in your cup. Giggling. Their little grommets be shaking. Looking like this. Cheese, So, we joke. I swear to God, this is the best intelligence briefing I have ever had. Okay, that happening. That being said, the United States is splitting down the middle politically, but how does this jive with Iran? Because according to Don Snorleone, the sleeping president who puts jinxes on things every time he gets involved, he says for the 37th time, 37th time, Wajeeh, keep track. I want you to keep the deal is almost done tracker. Put it up on the board and just put up the first blocks of X, and then we'll keep it. Get a little whiteboard, a dry erase board, and we'll just keep that up there. We'll go 38, 39. So okay,
get something too.
Look, guys, this is almost done. Compliments to Fox News for that previous cut, and this belongs to C-SPAN. Here he is speaking after jinxing the Knicks, falling asleep during the game while people are cheering and going nuts. And even worse, when he gets up because he's bored with the basketballs, right? Basket football soccer game that he came to watch. He had some deep thoughts about his deal.
No, we have a good chance of doing it. We should be able to do it in 1 hour. You want to know the time?
We play that.
1 hour?
No, we have a good chance of doing it. We should be able to do it in 1 hour. You want to know the truth? I don't think there are any sticking points. I think we're very close to having a very, very good, strong, powerful deal.
Bro says there are no sticking points. Okay.
A good, powerful deal.
I'm not even going to play you the rest. 2 to 3 days. It could be done in an hour, though. Or an hour, 2 to 3 days, or an hour, whichever comes first.
I would suggest for our viewers, listeners, to go and watch the interviews on CNN by Fred Pleitgen from Tehran. Where,
Fred Pleitgen's doing God's work.
Exactly. And, the sad thing is that these terrorists in Tehran speak more truth than Donald Trump. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? That's more than enough crazy activity for one day. Let's go to questions. We went through everything. And by the way, that was considered a very slow day. It only filled up our first. Holy cow. How many questions do we have here? Oh, okay. Not many. Oh, we got some.
I have one important announcement here because I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs. And right here on my desk upstairs, this is a fabulous book. I would encourage everyone to read it. It's by your former chief of both the CIA and the NSA, the only person in the world to ever hold both positions. And and he wrote it during Trump's first administration. And it's about how dangerous it is to have a political force that doesn't acknowledge reality and tries to create his own alternative reality. And I think it's released in 2019, but it's actually, it's a great book. So go get it. Michael Hayden, The Assault on Intelligence.
It's funny you should mention that because I know Mike Hayden. He was on the board of advisor. Well, he was on the board of directors of the Spy Museum, and I have a picture of me with him, and I have a signed copy of that book. And it is a brilliant, brilliant treatise on how the intelligence apparatus in the United States is not just being ignored, but being dismantled. And it goes hand in hand with Tom Nichols, who is also one of my MSNBC contributor buddies, of his book, by the way, former Naval War College professor, of his book called The Assault on Intelligence, right? And I'm not assault on intelligence, the assault on expertise, the death of expertise. And one is about the intelligence processes being completely in flames under the Trump administration, political people going up there. And then on the other hand, Nichols's book is just now, it's this weird conservative attitude from the Republicans principally that you have to get rid of experts and that experts are the ones who are causing all of our trouble. It's straight out of the movie. Well, one, Idiocracy, which is not a movie. It's actually a documentary that was brought to us from the future through the time machine, Mashin. That's how they spelled it there, right? And then, but that being brought to us. Whoa, sorry. The dogs of democracy are attacking. But what they said was, what Nichols said was, is that now stupidity and what they call, good, clean common sense is now considered what you should be, the pinnacle of manliness, and that expertise should never be trusted. This administration literally said, death of expertise, a checklist. Right? Let's get rid of every expert. Look at the nut that they have at housing that they have over at with RFK. This guy's killing people, literally causing people to die, firing every expert that they have over there to get rid of vaccines in the world. When I was in Africa, women would walk 3 days with their kids to get them vaccinated, right? To give them a fighting chance of living. We are living in Stupidsville, y'all. I mean, idiocracy? Yeah, I guess we could call it idiocracy. But we are living it in a deep, deep sense, and the deepest of senses.
Yep.
All right. Last thought. Oh, wait, didn't I go to questions? Look, see, I'm in
You went to
idiocracy right now.
questions.
There are so many.
Derailed the conversation.
You did derail the conversation. There's so many questions that came up on today's thread just today. Wow. Look how bad this is, according to Kate Hopkins. By the way, I love your insights. I grew up and in my global studies teacher said, pay attention to the Middle East. That was 1996. In 2001, I took a course at my college for the psychology of violence and terrorism. My college was one of the first to offer a certificate in Homeland Security post 9/11. And she goes, by the way, Philly boy, I'm a boss from Boston by way of New York. All right. Somebody says, hey, is it Taco Tuesday?
It's Taco Tuesday.
Is it Taco Tuesday? Or he says, or Tefu Tuesday. Trump always fucks up. Greg Connors, my question, what questions should we be asking? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, the one question we should be asking, talking about the situation in Lebanon is exactly the question. When is Iran going to escalate again? Because it will happen. It doesn't seem like Trump has succeeded in reining in Netanyahu.
Yeah, I
You know.
agree. Vicky LaCour, we don't know what caused the Apache to crash. We're going to get to the bottom of that, and we'll get back to that as soon as we find out. Now, Central Command's going to come out and say it had an engine malfunction. They set down in the water, were rescued by a drone. The Iranians are going to come up with a video of a missile hitting it. Right? Or a Lego video. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either one. Both sides here are in a strategic war of. In the old days, we would tell the truth. We would just say, "Hey, we lost one to surface-to-air missile," so that everyone else doesn't get lost by a surface-to-air missile. Right? All hands know about that. So, we do not have a count of total number of fertilizer out there. There are websites that are tracking fertilizer movements and urea prices all over the world. I recommend that you go and come and give us some answers. Malcolm, do you have any real factual information about the deal Trump says will be signed within the next several days? No, no one does. No one ever has. The worst part is the Iranians have been actually more accurate about what's
And
Jake.
And because this is also what I was asked, there is no evidence whatsoever that tells us that they have moved from their original position. There are 13 points that were published already in the first weeks of this war. So I haven't seen any evidence that they've moved at all.
No, there has been no movement. And for him
No.
to come and make an insane statement that everything is, all of the major issues are already agreed upon. You're just, bro, you're not
95%.
trying to get to an agreement. You're trying to get to an MOU that says someday we will fix an agreement. So explain that one to me. Okay. Let me get some for Wajeeh here. We could not discuss the various factions in Israel. That's going to take a specialty show. And I think we should have a specialty show, one on the internal politics of Israel, and why Netanyahu appears to be getting away with whatever. And the other, and another show on Lebanon and how Hezbollah fits into the Lebanese political scene. Those are deep dives. We could spend an hour just outlining it each time. So we'll put that down.
Yeah.
I've written it down.
I'll do a Q&A for paid subscribers tomorrow night on Lebanon. I'll just go over some of the main points and then do a Q&A on that. And I'll send out something to all my subscribers in a few moments.
Okay. Yeah, because Jimmy S is asking the same question. Can you talk about the origins of Hamas and Hezbollah? I could talk about the origins of Hezbollah for hours. All right, because I was there when they were forming. This is not stuff. See, this is the Middle East, right? This isn't something we could talk about in a matter of minutes or hours, right? So we will have to tie on shows, and I think that's a good idea. Is there any way once in a while we can get a live podcast at a better time of day? Somebody's asking. It said 6 a.m. California time for me. That one's from Teresa Sylvia, and she's a loyal watcher. Well, you got to understand, Teresa, we're doing East Coast time, Central time, and Central European time at this point. And I know it gets you up early, but if you're like me, you're already getting up to go run. Oh, if you live in a place like Oceanside or some beautiful beach town, I'd already be out running at 5 a.m. and then come in to watch me. Okay, what else do we have? I have a lot of comments today, not many in the question department. Anyway, I will be going through those and answering a lot of the commentary. So we've gone an hour. So Jacob, Wajeeh, do you guys have anything you'd like to say on our way out the door?
Yes. After Jacob, if you have anything to say first.
Yeah, it's just, with what's going on in Tyre and, the Iranian statements we've had the last 24 hours, keep your seatbelts fastened because things could unravel. We'll see.
Yes, I
Right.
totally agree. Things are moving fast, even though that they're slow right now. There's a lot of puzzles moving in the background. We have actual investigations happening regarding the downing of the helicopter that will play a large part on in terms of whether the United States has a different type of escalation against Iran or not. You have Israel that attacked Lebanon recently, and we know that Iran made Lebanon a red line and has shown us yesterday that they're capable of hitting Israel, and as a Lebanon being a red line on different sides. So keep up. Make sure that you're paying attention because we are updating. And if there is something immediate, I'm sure that Malcolm and I and Jacob will have an emergency podcast covering the latest update if things escalate. Regarding 224, I think we should definitely schedule something for our viewers, and I think it's important that we give it the time that it needs because it affects our sovereignty and it affects the future of our government. Last but not least, hats for the Wajeeh Lion podcast have dropped. So if you want to grab your hat, it's out and about, and they're all reasonably priced. So grab your hat today.
Well, sorry.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, you missed our live on Substack, but that's fine. We get somewhere in the order of 8,000 watchers on YouTube every day. We are trying to figure out the technical way of doing this live on YouTube and simulcasting from Substack. But please, for some bizarre, strange reason, we are hemorrhaging subscribers on Substack. Even though we are the number 10 in the world of world politics on Substack, which is amazing because the rest are all like news organizations and somehow, some of these pro-Moscow losers. But that's great. Still rising up. If you can, please subscribe to malcolmnance.substack.com. That's how we keep the lights on here. That's how we keep doing analysis. And there are going to be a lot of special things. My book, Thinker, Sailor, Black Man, Spy, will be coming out next year on January. It takes a year, by the way, to go to print. This is with St. Martin's Press. This is not me going on Amazon and self-publishing. And I'm glad because I just finished the copy editing this morning, which is why we were 1 minute and 30 seconds late. And copy editors are expensive and they are invaluable. She found reams of holes in my book. And it's just like, did you mean this? Did you mean that? Are you sure that date's correct? And I was like, no, date's wrong. Thank you. And, looked right through the book, fact checked, name checked every individual in the book, time checked, utterly amazing. And it is now in sync with Encyclopedia Britannica. So that being said, but one of the things that I found is it was 177,000 words when I started the book. It's about 100,000 and 109,000 words now. That extra 60,000 words I'm going to be publishing on Substack. I do a treatise on, Black Spies Matter. And a lot of stuff that they had me remove from the book because they were like, you can't name that guy, he's an idiot. You can't name that guy, he works for the White House right now. And people I called disgraced mediocre white men like Scott Ritter, the guy who was a UN weapons inspector turned pedophile who went to prison for 3 years. He actually has an audio clip I'm hearing from people, he has an audio clip of me on his show from Moscow, whatever he does from Russia Today. John Kiriakou, who is making the rounds now. Another is a CIA officer that went to prison for 3 years. And I'm sure they have all fine foreign policy insights. But I mean, he was on with Mehdi Hassan the other day talking crazy talk. Weird guys who their sole function is to say that black spies don't matter or women don't matter. And I just find that very weird. They get these big platforms, but trust me, I'll do this all day so I don't have to go on Russia Today. But that chapter is about 15,000 words, right? That's a third of an average book. So I'm going to be putting that up when the book goes into print. I will be putting up the unexpurgated version of that chapter, Black Spies Matter, and some of the stories that did not make it into the book, right? My submarine special operations chapter is about 40 words long. It's called the shortest chapter you'll ever read. But a story that I told that was cleared by the Pentagon, I will put up on Substack. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can get out of this, that I'm going to be putting out that other people won't be putting out, and the private subscriber chat. They will all be for subscribers. They literally pay for my work. So we will be supporting them. So please subscribe to malcolmnance.substack.com, jacobcarsmo.substack.com, Wajeeh lion.substack.com. We are worth your money and we're worth your time. And if you can't afford it, don't worry about it. Stay free. We're going to be up here doing this free until we can take a vacation, till the war ends, which means we'll be here next year for you. So at this point, I hope not.
Oh, dear.
All right, guys, thank you for coming. We will see you all tomorrow
See you
morning
tomorrow.
unless some crisis occurs. Fi man la, bye-bye.
Bye bye.